Welcome back, viewer, to Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking about breast cancer awareness. Just in case you're joining us, this month of October being the month where we talk about the breast cancer awareness. This is where we are learning more about the signs and symptoms, what to look out for, what causes. Doctor has helped us to know that it's a lifestyle disease, and in most of the time, when one is told that he or she has a breast cancer, is mostly likely to be under medication for the rest of his or her life. Send in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So, Doc, before we went on a break, I'd ask a question, and now that we've seen the hormones now that you've mentioned, and is it something that can be removed? And you say we can't do about the hormones from now, the ladies. And also the question that I had asked is what are the risk factors involving the person who has the irregular periods or has the issue of hormonal imbalance? Always when we go for hospital checkup, you're always told you have hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, a very good question. And hormonal imbalance is common, especially it's common when a woman is just about to enter into puberty. It also happens in boys or men. Yeah, because that's when the hormones are they are acting up to make somebody start having the features of either a man or a woman.
Sure.
Okay. Now, what can affect the hormones usually is much more of sometimes diet. So what somebody is eating, if they don't eat well, they're not able to achieve the level of hormones that they need to be able to become the man or woman. Okay. But also, when one uses hormonal-based contraceptives for women, then it can cause an imbalance sometimes. But also similarly, also the same contraceptives can be used to stabilize the hormonal imbalance. So interesting enough, okay? Can happen. So for those who present with hormonal imbalance, whereby they have probably irregular periods, most often we would give them some medication to make them have a regular hormonal balance, and then once it's regular, then we stop it. So it's a body responding. So it's just like a clock. You're trying to set the clock. I know women, when I use the word clock, I can see you thinking biological clock. No, it's actually a clock. It's actually like a clock, okay? It's actually like a clock. So you have to ensure that the body is set, that it realizes this is the level, and we do that with drugs. Okay. Now, hormonal imbalance doesn't affect much the risk for cancer. It does not, because it's a common phenomenon for women, and just as also similar for men before puberty. Okay. So very important. Now, can we remove this, and should we remove this? No, we shouldn't. However, in some instances, if somebody's ovaries were removed, then if at all it was a condition, then it would result in somebody not having estrogen. Okay? So you can imagine the effect of not having estrogen for a woman. The skin will not be as clear. You know, estrogen makes the women's skin be clear compared to men, okay, and even lighter, and even the fat distribution. That's why women have a figure 8 and men do not have, because of what estrogen does to the body. Okay, so those things that make a woman are usually hormones. Okay, so we cannot decide that we're going to remove like the hormones or remove the ovaries, so the woman does not have the risks involved. Okay? Yes.
Okay, that one is very interesting, because now I'm thinking if you remove how we'd look. And,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, now that you've learned all this, for a patient or a family member who is being told that they have breast cancer, as a society, as a family, what are we supposed to do to the person? Are we supposed to isolate them? Are we supposed to bring them close? What, what do we need to do for the person who is going through this journey of cancer?
So, just like somebody who's grieving, diagnosis and the process of breaking the news to someone that they do have cancer, they have a similar cycle, meaning that excuse me, meaning that excuse me, one second, yeah, that they would have to go through the cycle of denial, anger, and then they can bargain, and then have acceptance. Just the same way the grief cycle is, because diagnosis with a terminal or a chronic illness, the cycle is similar to that one for grieving. So we have to understand that one, this person will have denial initially. Yeah, they'll say, no way, no way, I've been doing everything right. How is it? Why is it me? Okay? After that, they'll be angry. Why? Because they'll be angry probably with God, can be angry with God, can be angry with everybody else, because everybody else probably is trying to treat them in a different way. After that, they'll start bargaining and say, no, I think I can be healed. I think I can be healed, or I think this is not right, the diagnosis is wrong. And thereafter, they get acceptance. So how do we treat them? We have to be patient. We have to be very, very patient, because cancer diagnosis is not easy. Very, very patient and very empathetic, and think, what would I do if I'm in this person's shoes? Very empathetic. Think through what you would do to them, okay? Or if you're in their shoes, okay? But also, much more importantly, these people need compassion, okay? Need compassion. You need to be able to show them tender, loving care. We also need to know that they need quality of life. Because for those who are diagnosed at the end stage, you can think that you want to tell them we have to do A, B, C, D, because that's what everybody is doing. But sometimes you just need quality of life, okay? And it's something we usually say in end stage disease. We usually say you want to add more life to their days and not more days to their life. Okay? Yeah, we want to add more life to their days, not more days to their life, because they've reached that stage, and that's where what is much more important, people need to know the value of mental health. So if you can afford it, then there's need for therapy for both the patient and the caregiver, because the caregiver sometimes is forgotten. The person who's taking care of that person almost on a daily basis is usually sometimes forgotten. They can be exhausted emotionally taking care of this person. So they also need mental health support. Okay, so therapy, counseling sessions, very, very important. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Where we are currently as a nation, globally, how advanced are we in terms of technology and how we go about the screening and examination of breast cancer? And also, how knowledgeable are we as a society when it comes to breast cancer?
I think in terms of knowledge, we are still not as advanced as the Western nations. Okay, the Western nations have much more rigorous preventive programs that identify women all throughout the year, and they have also resources. So there are foundations that are constantly getting, that are getting money put into breast cancer research. that is putting finances into breast cancer treatments, so people can afford. So treatment is expensive. So there are foundations that people who are out there, either breast cancer survivors, who have opted to give legacy donations for that kind of thing. So we are not there yet. Okay, so in terms of awareness and making treatment affordable. But in terms of technology, we have made major strides. Yeah, right now we have at least a mammogram close by in almost every county because of the equipment scheme that was there in the previous administrations. So a woman can get an affordable screening exam, and even most medical insurance companies recognize the need to have wellness exams for women to get, for example, these screening exams. So to that extent, I would say we have done very well. Where can we have much more strengthening in the national registry? So there is now a national cancer registry and the National Cancer Institute that documents. See, we can only improve if we know what we are dealing with. So by documenting all the cases and profiling all the cases, then we can know how to put in measures for prevention as we move forward. So that the registry needs to be strengthened so that we know what we're dealing with in terms of the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show
Thank
and for educating us more on the breast cancer.
Thank you.
As we wind up, could you give us your parting shot?
My parting shot is that breast cancer is a lifestyle disease, and prevention is the best cure. And because prevention is the best cure, we should not take it for granted that we can be able to prevent breast cancer and prevent many people from dying. So if you're a woman, if you have a mother, if you have a grandmother, or if you have a daughter, please ensure you educate them on how to do self-examination. But also, do not forget, if you're above 40, to have your regular screening every year. It will save your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Steve. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Viewer, I hope you've learned as much as I have. Let's continue this conversation online across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. My take home is get screened as early as possible. Prevention is better than staying with no information about what is happening in your body. Till next time, have a nice time.